How did you get into the librarian field? Was it something you always wanted to do, or did you have like a 2 a.m. moment where you decided like, oh, I'm going to do that now?
So I always have it in my bio line when I like write something or have to like in my bio. When I was seven, I won a bookmark contest at our public library, and my bookmark said, "All for one, all for free libraries." And my mother actually framed it and hung it on the wall because I think she was really shocked that I won. Because it was kind of like, these little orange hearts and these little yellow hearts, in 7-year-old handwriting or whatever. So I've always, like, that was kind of like my start of love affair with libraries. And then I became a special education teacher and then realized that, this is great. I'm impacting like this finite number of kids. But if I became a school librarian, I could impact everybody in the entire building. And so that's sort of how I ended up here.
When I was in school, I keep going back to my experience, but when I was in school, that was also a home for everybody who just maybe didn't feel like they fit in their normal hall, normal class, like in the library. There's people like me, and
Uh-huh. Mhm. Yep.
man,
Everybody belongs. That's what we always say.
yeah, everybody belongs. I always felt like that was the soul of the school, was the library, and the vibe and the culture kind of came from that. How do you think a little bit of that's being lost with the digitalization of everything?
Um, in the libraries that have strong programs, I don't think so. I feel like the librarians do a really good job in continuing to bring it back. So, but I'm sure that it is in a way. Yeah. I
It's
things
fascinating.
change. It's changing.
Yeah, I'm excited for this conference because I talk to
Me
like
too.
educators all day and administrators, and the people who I don't ever talk to are librarians and like media staff and people who are like just like the heart and soul of the experience that I had as a child where, I do the math homework early just so she would let me go to the library and go read my fantasy book.
Well, I promise you're gonna love us because we're a fun bunch, and you're gonna have some really great conversations with a lot of really amazing people at
Well,
the
I'm super
conference.
excited.
We understand ourselves how important it is to have a school librarian in every building and what role they play and how they, you know, impact students. But getting administrators and boards of education to understand so that there is a school librarian in every building, I think that is the biggest hurdle that is facing our profession.
That is not something I was aware of. So every public school does not have a certified librarian in.
No, no. And it varies widely between states. It varies widely between districts. A friend of mine, Deb Cockle, she's a colleague, and she was actually my library professor when I went to library school. She has been working with a group called Parcel. It's a Philadelphia Alliance to Restore School Librarians. Philadelphia has not had school librarians in their schools since 2008. Yes. And so they
What?
take 3 steps forward, 1 step back. They had a giant IMLS grant that was canceled by the government that was going to help restore school librarians. So they're back to, square one. How do we get school librarians back in Philadelphia?
How has that changed with things kind of becoming more state-led now and the federal government kind of just throwing its hands to the wind and saying, "States, figure it all out." You think that's scarier for the future, or does that give you all more power to.
I don't think we know yet.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I don't
fascinating.
think we know yet. Yeah. And there are some states where it is mandated in their state code that there is a school librarian, a certified school librarian, and there are other states that it is not. And so, in California, they have very few school librarians, whereas in Maryland, schools all have them because it's in
Yeah,
our state code.
interesting. Yeah, I grew up in Georgia and never went to a school that didn't have
I
10 librarians in it. I mean, I'm thinking
do
back to
not
my.
quote me on this. I think it's part of their
Yeah.
mandate that you have to. Yeah.
I mean, because in my middle school, I know for a fact there was 6 librarians in the library at all times, minimum.
Wow.
Yeah,
It must have been a
yeah.
big school.
No, I mean, no, not really. My high school graduating class was 300 people, so not
Wow.
too big, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. So, that's something that I would have not known. I wonder, does the average parent know that there's not a librarian at their kid's school? Because everybody
I
from
think
our
it's
generation had a librarian That was a
In some places, parents are very aware and are working alongside groups to get librarians back. There was a district in Maryland that was getting rid of all their school librarians, and parents put together a grassroots effort to stop that from happening. So there's very much pushback when it starts to happen. But I think that is the biggest thing that's facing our profession is, getting people to understand that there is a value to what we do. It's not just something that's a bonus. Kids just don't go get a story read to them. They are learning all these skills that are going to like be great for them in the future that they really need to have, especially like looking at information literacy. Oh my goodness.
what's the big hurdle with like connecting with students now? Because in my experience, the librarian was the trusted person you could go to. uh, I mean, if you went to the bathroom and you came back and your whole class was missing for some reason and you sat there for 15 minutes and no one was like, you go to the library and sit or something.
Yeah.
Like it's like the trusted place where you go and find people. Without the librarian and the library, what's like the home base? Where do kids like go for
I think
congregation and
in schools where there's a library program, it's still the library.
yeah,
In my old position, I used to like love going to the high school libraries during lunch because it was just filled with kids and they would be playing games and doing homework and just being goofy. And it was just such a nice place for them to be. So, and that's important. It's important for kids to have a place where they can go and just chill.
right. What's the big theme for the upcoming conference? Like the big kind of, I guess, secret's the wrong word, but behind the scenes when y'all are talking about like the one takeaway everybody needs to leave with, like what is that?
So we actually, like years ago, sort of did away with having that kind of thing for the conference. And we hope that everybody comes away feeling pumped up and energized and like they have had the best professional learning experience of their life. But we don't actually have a theme.
Yeah. And then somebody not from that world, what does like professional learning look like for librarians?
It's lots of fun, lots of hands on. We're gonna have so many different sessions going on where you can learn all about like, creating in the library, collection development, developing policies and procedures for your library. Um, our keynote is Steve Hofstetter. I don't know if you've ever followed him on Instagram or Facebook. He's a comedian out of Pittsburgh.
Yes, okay. I was like, that sounds real familiar.
Yeah, absolutely one of the funniest people I've ever had the pleasure of seeing in person. So we're very much looking forward to that. He's also an author. He has a couple of books. And then of course, Jason Reynolds is gonna be our author keynote, and you can't get any better than that. We'll all be hanging on every word. So it's a lot of also building connections with each other. You may like see somebody at one AASL conference, like say in St. Um, Louisville, 19, and then you see them again in Tampa, and now all of a sudden you're going to see them in St. Louis, and you would think that we were best friends hugging and screaming in the hallway, and you've really only seen this person like twice in your life, but it's good to see the people that you meet on social media or in your library PLNs in person. It's awesome.
That is amazing. When I typed in Steve Hofstetter, it said people also search for George Carlin, Jerry Seinfeld, Jackie Robinson. So what good company?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Yeah, amazing. With the conference, we're coming in kind of under the guise like media. We want to tell a story and help you all kind of introduce yourselves to our network. And it's a lot of educators, innovators in education, research university people. And what we're trying to do with that is bridge. We want to be an access point for you all to kind of tell your story. Like you were saying, you feel like if there's not even a librarian in every school, clearly people are missing something because
Mhm.
like our generation all knows how important it is and what we would want our kids to have that, but it's not happening. And we're the decision makers now. So why isn't it happening? So there's got to be some disconnect. Is there something else we can do beyond that as
Feel like if
storytellers?
yeah, as storytellers, if there was a way to get voices that could then be sent out into the world that tell the importance and help us get it to the right people, like the people who are the ones that make the decisions about funding, like funding that position and funding the library. That would be like, I mean, you have no idea. That would be huge.
Yeah. But what's the, sky's the limit, unlimited budget? What's the big project that we could do?
For overall, or like what would I
Yeah,
like
yeah,
to see
just
if I had like a dream project?
yeah, both, both, both.
So, my dream project would be to have like a makerspace in every library, like in the district, like a really good makerspace where that included like podcasting equipment and everything that they need to explore. That would be my absolute like hands down would love to see.
That's awesome.
But I don't know that I can speak for everybody what their dream would be.
Yeah. I think that's a big thing now. Our founder, Evan, he and a school in Toronto is basically given their students this giant room and said, like, turn this into a studio, have fun, do with it what you will. And so they partnered with Evan and Beluga and Thinkering to bring this thing to life. So Evan's been running around going through closets and saying like, "Oh, there's a stack of chairs here. Can I use these? Okay, thanks." And we just, "Oh, this plant, can I move this?" And
Yeah.
building out this podcast studio. And we're just super kind of surprised to see how many people are using it, and even the interest from administrators just kind of realizing like, oh, I can pop over here and do a little quick thing real quick. It's not just the student led productions and stuff. It's the teachers and administrators are now having the FOMO and they want in on the fun too.
They
So I
went
can
in on it
see,
too. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's a super cool one. And there's probably some kind of project we could pursue like that where, we could work on figuring out some really cool model for what is the perfect maker space, and then going out and then going to funders and saying like, "Let's get this into 5 schools or 10 schools and then study, the impact that this really has, and then take that to the world and say like, this should be in every every school, every library."
Yeah.
With the conference coming up, what's, like, the one big event on the schedule that I should kinda put down the camera for and just sit through and attend? I saw the Idea Lab on the schedule, and that looked really cool.
Is one that I would 100% suggest that you head into. They're quick hits of things that people have done, and they're very concrete, and they're things that are replicable in your own building. And I always 100% enjoy that a lot. The other one that we have is there's like an author stage, and there's going to be some panels with different authors who write professional books and things like that. And I feel like that's also a great place to just kind of sit down and learn a little bit more deeply.
Love, love, love the term tinkering, and we'll definitely use it in my classroom. The kids will love it.
This is where we can be that peer support network with each other. When the big picture clicks, it's beautiful when you get administrators and teachers together.
You can't be a leader of other people if you can't first lead yourself, right?
Help the educator have a very clear and structured framework.
Becomes this real community hub. If you're a great educator, you're looking for the most powerful moment. Can we inspire kids to believe that the world needs who they were made to be?
I hope that you guys continue to uphold that legacy and continue, finding kids like you.